Chapter 1. The prelude to war. The year 16 AD dawned in the shadow of past defeats and ambitions. Germanicus, a scion of the Julian clan, had earned respect and admiration after his previous campaigns in Germania, but the specter of the Teutoburg forest still loomed large over the Roman psyche. The Cherusci tribe, led by Arminius, the very man who had orchestrated the calamity 6 years earlier, remained defiant and unbroken. Arminius had turned the tide against Rome, and now, Germanicus was determined to avenge that loss and restore the glory of the Roman Empire. Germanicus's resolve was strengthened by the experience and loyalty of his legions, many of whom had fought alongside him in previous campaigns. These veterans, scarred yet resilient, were ready to face the hardships of the Germanic territories once more. As he gathered his troops, he spoke to them of honor and revenge, igniting the flames of determination within their hearts. This was more than a military campaign. It was a crusade to reclaim Roman pride and establish dominion over the wild lands of Germania. Chapter 2. Preparing for the campaign. Understanding the stakes, Germanicus meticulously planned his campaign. He sought intelligence on the Cherusci and their alliances, sending scouts and spies deep into enemy territory. Reports began to flow in about the movements of Arminius and the discontent among various tribes. Although the Cherusci had united under Arminius's leadership, rivalries among the Germanic tribes could be exploited. The Roman army prepared not just for battle but for the harsh realities of Germanic life. Supplies were stockpiled, equipment repaired, and strategies formulated to navigate the difficult terrain. Germanicus emphasized the importance of maintaining a tight formation, as the forests could be treacherous, with ambushes lurking behind every tree. He trained his men relentlessly, honing their skills in combat and teaching them to adapt to the unconventional warfare of the Germans. Chapter 3. Crossing the Rhine. As spring blossomed, Germanicus led his legions across the Rhine River, their faces set with determination. This crossing marked the beginning of a new chapter in Rome's military efforts in Germania. The soldiers marched in formation, their shields glistening in the sunlight as they entered the land that had once been the scene of their greatest disgrace. Upon entering Germanic territory, they faced immediate challenges. Scouts reported movement in the woods, and the air was thick with tension. Germanicus had anticipated that the Cherusci would not remain idle. His troops established fortified camps each night, maintaining vigilance against surprise attacks. Each camp became a bastion of Roman resilience, a symbol of their resolve to reclaim what had been lost. Chapter 4. The initial skirmishes. The first clashes between Roman and Cherusci forces were fierce but small-scale. Germanicus led his troops with a keen understanding of strategy, ordering skirmishes designed to gauge the strength of Arminius's warriors while minimizing Roman casualties. These engagements tested the mettle of both sides, as the Cherusci employed hit-and-run tactics, striking quickly and retreating into the dense forests. Germanicus remained patient, knowing that a decisive engagement would require careful timing and preparation. The Romans utilized their disciplined formations to counter the Cherusci's unpredictability, reinforcing their flanks and ensuring that they could respond effectively to ambushes. Each small victory bolstered Roman morale, instilling a sense of unity among the soldiers as they pressed deeper into enemy territory. Chapter 5. The turning point. As the campaign progressed, Germanicus began to see cracks in the Cherusci's unity. Reports indicated that Arminius had difficulties maintaining control over his allies, many of whom were wary of further conflict with Rome. Germanicus seized this opportunity to launch a series of calculated maneuvers designed to isolate the Cherusci. In a bold move, Germanicus led a contingent of his best troops to target key supply routes used by the Cherusci. By disrupting their logistics, he aimed to weaken their resolve and force Arminius into a more decisive confrontation. This tactic bore fruit as the Cherusci began to suffer from shortages, creating dissent among the tribes who had once rallied behind Arminius. Chapter 6. The Battle of the Weser. The culmination of Germanicus's efforts came in the summer of 16 AD with the Battle of the Weser, a pivotal confrontation that would determine the fate of Roman ambitions in Germania. Germanicus had drawn the Cherusci out into the open, utilizing the terrain to his advantage. His forces were strategically positioned on the high ground, with infantry and cavalry flanking the enemy. The battle erupted with a clash of steel and a chorus of battle cries. The Romans advanced in their tight formations, shields locked and weapons ready. The Cherusci, emboldened by their previous victories, charged fiercely but soon found themselves at a disadvantage against the disciplined Roman legions. Germanicus, recognizing the shifting tide, rallied his men with inspiring words. "Fight for Rome, fight for the fallen. Today, we reclaim our honor." His voice rang out above the chaos, motivating the soldiers to fight with renewed vigor. The battle raged for hours, with neither side willing to yield. However, Germanicus's tactical brilliance began to shine through. He ordered his cavalry to strike at the flanks of the Cherusci, sowing confusion among their ranks. The disciplined Roman formations held strong, pushing forward as they began to encircle their foes. Chapter 7. Victory and its cost. As the sun began to set on that fateful day, the tide turned decisively in favor of the Romans. The Cherusci, realizing they were outmatched, began to falter. Germanicus seized the moment, commanding a final push that broke through the heart of the enemy formation. The battle culminated in a rout, with many Cherusci fleeing into the woods, leaving their fallen comrades behind. The cost of victory, however, weighed heavily on Germanicus. As he surveyed the battlefield, he witnessed both the triumph and the tragedy of war. Roman soldiers had fallen, their sacrifice echoing in the hearts of those who survived. The price of vengeance was steep, and the path of conquest was littered with the memories of the brave. In the aftermath of the battle, Germanicus ordered a proper burial for both his fallen soldiers and those of the Cherusci, honoring the warrior spirit that resided within each man. This act of respect towards his enemies earned him admiration, not only from his troops but also from other tribes who observed the Romans' conduct. Chapter 8. The aftermath and consolidation of power. With the Cherusci defeated, Germanicus turned his attention to consolidating Roman power in Germania. Recognizing that mere military might was insufficient to maintain control, he sought to establish alliances with other tribes and bring stability to the region. His victory had opened the door to potential negotiations, and Germanicus understood the importance of diplomacy in the wake of war. Germanicus sent envoys to neighboring tribes, offering peace and trade in exchange for their allegiance to Rome. Many tribes, seeing the strength of the Roman legions, chose to align themselves with Germanicus rather than face further conflict. This strategic diplomacy laid the groundwork for Roman influence to spread in Germania, extending beyond mere conquest into the realm of governance. Chapter 9. The legacy of Germanicus. The campaigns of 16 AD left an indelible mark on Roman history. Germanicus's triumph over the Cherusci not only avenged the loss of the legions at Teutoburg but also solidified his reputation as one of Rome's most formidable generals. His ability to combine military strategy with diplomacy showcased the multifaceted nature of leadership in ancient Rome. In the years to come, Germanicus would be celebrated as a hero, his exploits recounted in tales of bravery and valor. His campaigns in Germania would set a precedent for future Roman engagements in the region, paving the way for the eventual establishment of Roman provinces in what is now modern-day Germany. Chapter 10. Reflection on honor and valor. As Germanicus prepared to return to Rome, he took a moment to reflect on the journey that had brought him to this point. The campaigns had tested his mettle, both as a warrior and a leader. He had witnessed the horrors of war, the sacrifices of his soldiers, and the complexities of navigating the delicate relationships between tribes. Germanicus understood that the legacy of a general was not solely defined by victories on the battlefield, but also by the honor and respect he earned from his troops and adversaries alike. He had fought valiantly, but he had also sought to understand the cultures and motivations of those he battled against. This perspective would shape his future decisions as he moved forward, ever aware that the path of conquest was a path fraught with challenges.